Unit 1 Review Assignment Part 2 video. Alright, we're going to start with the first one here of finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So to find the x-intercept, the y must be 0, which means we would say negative 2x plus 4 times 0, because you're replacing y with 0, equals negative 8. And we get negative 2x. This becomes 0, so we can ignore it. And we get negative 2x equals negative 8, so we divide by negative 2, and x equals 4. And this is your x-intercept. Your y-intercept is when x equals 0, so we would plug a 0 in for the x instead, and solve for y. So again, they cancel, become 0, so we get 4y equals negative 8, divide by 4, and y equals negative 2. And that's the y-intercept. Rewrite in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is of the form y equals mx plus b. In other words, it's solved for y. So I'm going to subtract 5x, and we get 2y equals, and it's mx plus b form, so I'm going to put my x term first. And then we divide by 2. Now everything on the right side must be divided by 2, which means we'll get this, which is negative 5 halves x, and then this, 14 divided by 2, which is 7. And this is slope-intercept form. Next page. We're going to focus on the first questions. Find the slope of the line through each pair. So number 9, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the official formula. So we can say that this is our first term and this is our first point, and this is our second point. So we would take y2, which is negative 17, subtract y1, which is 10, over x2 minus x1, which is negative 13. And this gives us a negative 27 over, this becomes a plus, minus negative becomes plus, and you get a positive 7, and this is your slope, negative 27 sevenths, and that's good. Okay, find the slope of each line. Well, this one's nice. We have to go from one coordinate to another. So we make a slope triangle. So I'm going to go down and over. And I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I go down 9, which is a negative movement. I go left 1, 2, 3. And left is a negative movement. So I have a slope of negative 9 over negative 3, which is positive 3. Now I could also go up and over, in which case I'd go up 9 over 3, which is just a positive 9 over positive 3. Same answer. Whoops. Next question. For question 15 through 18, write the slope-intercept form of the equation for each line. Now, I'll do two questions here, 15 and 16. Now, 15 gives us two pieces of information. Again, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So our slope is m. Our y-intercept is b, so minus 1. And this is the equation in slope-intercept form. Our second equation we need to fill in, or our graph, we need to fill in the same thing. So if we look at it, we notice the y-intercept is negative 4. The question now remains, what is the slope? So here I would look at our blue line and find places on the grid where our line goes through the crosshairs. The y-intercept is one of them. So if I go up to there, that's not going through a crosshair, nor is that, nor is that. Here it goes through a crosshair again. So my slope would tell me how I get from that point to the lower point. And to do that, I would go down 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a negative 4, and to the right 1, 2, 3. So I have a slope of negative 4 over 3, which is my slope in my equation, and that is my equation in slope-intercept form. Our last part of this video is going to focus on these questions. And these are difficult questions, so that's why I'm going to take the time to do them. Now, a vertical line is of the form x equals. It has to go through this point, which means it must have the value of 19 for its x. And that is all you need to do. A horizontal line, however, is of the form y equals. And if it goes through this point, it must have the y value, so negative 8. Next question, horizontal line. Horizontal line is of the form y equals. If it goes through this point, it must have the same y value. And here's your y value. Just as up here, my y value was negative 8, and up here my y value was 19. My last one, vertical line means x equals, goes to this point, so I have the same x value. And that is my equation for that one. And this ends video 2.